my special guest with me this evening, Mr. Patrick, DaddyPlay Howell. Hello, Patrick.
What are you doing, T?
All right. Thank you for coming in. It's been a while, yeah? What's the saying in America? It's been a minute.
A minute.
So I've been trying to get you on the show for a while, haven't I?
Yes. But like I think I indicated to you, I wanted to make sure when I do come on the show, it was something that was, I'd have things to talk about.
I'm sure, well, that's the reason I wanted to invite you on, because you're very interesting, man. Yeah, and you're kind of a local celebrity, in a way, from my perspective. Anyway. I admire you from afar because I've seen you around and stuff like that. So, and I invited you because I know you've got some interesting things to talk about. So, I know you're very busy. So thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on the show.
Well, and T, thanks for squeezing me in.
Like I said, it's been a long time, mate. I've always got room for you. So, as always, just tell the listeners a little bit about your background.
Patrick, DaddyPlay is my entertainment name, Howell. How can I start?
Start from the very beginning, as they say.
Well, okay, I was born in the U.S., but I feel like I have as much claim to being Norwegian as anybody else that was born here. Reason being, I was conceived here.
That's a start. That's a good start. Yeah, because people do that. Right?
Where both things met, it happened. The original life started right here.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So you can say it.
So, shortly after, I was 8 months old before I came back to Nevis, and I was living in Market Shop, Gingerland, with a great aunt of mine. So, that's my early childhood.
So, have you been back to the States since you left, or?
Oh yes. My whole entire life I've been going back and forth.
So you still got family?
So I've gotten, my mother lives there, my father lives there.
Okay.
I had a lot of family up there, yeah.
I'm going to do something. I'm going to do some research into the whole Caribbean. What's the word I'm looking for? The passage. When parents leave their children with their maternal grandparents and other members of the family, and they go off thousands of miles away. I'm going to delve into that because I find it very interesting that parents can leave their children with other members of the family while they go off and better themselves and try and better the lives for their children as well. Because my mum and dad never really explained to me why they did it, and it still goes on today, right?
Well, I had a young mother back. Well, on my side, my mother was really young.
Right.
She got pregnant at 14.
Okay.
So, back then it wasn't the best news. It wasn't the best social thing to happen. So she went to the U.S. Again to make a better life. But, I was left in capable hands here in Nevis too. Like, my great aunt, she lived at Market Shop, like I mentioned before, right? And right below Market Shop there was a post office and a library. Now, one of the things with living with an older female, she doesn't let you do much.
Right.
So one of the things I used to have to do was sneak down the back, sneak into the public library, and I had my way with reading whatever books I wanted to read. Which led me to be a great speller later on. I was like the spelling bee champion, many different, and that came from living with that elder lady. So, but yeah, life it is what it is. You end up where you end up, and you make the best of it. Like I said, I had many different supportive people in my corner.
Because I guess, if you came out to Nevis at such an early age, I guess there was nothing for you to compare in terms of being born in America and being raised in Nevis. There must have been a massive chasm there.
But I was fortunate. I was able to go back and forth, like on summers and everything. So I was able to, my entire life, I was able to experience both sides of the coin, Nevis and the U.S. But I've always been in the vision at heart, like I mentioned before, and that's why I'm here now.
Okay.
That's why You know, I've always preferred Nevis, even though I had quite a life there in the U.S. too. I mean, like for instance, I was in the U.S. Army.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was stationed in Alaska for 2.5 years. You know, so I have many different chapters up there. But again, I prefer Nevis, regardless.
Well, I can totally agree with you on that. Nevis is a beautiful island. We've got some beautiful people. Yeah, so I can totally understand why you love it. So what do you do now? I mean, what do you do during the day? What do you do for a living?
Well, since 2015 I was as NCDF, the Nevis Cultural Development Foundation, where I dealt with matters cultural. Now I'm at the communications unit. That unit pretty much supports anything to do with the community. All the different ministries that are community based, we're normally there. We pick up the slack from where, especially from where the NTV can't. We pick up all the slack from NTV.
Right.
Whatever they can't cover, we, you know.
Is that in terms of doing things like filming?
Yes.
Interviewing, editing?
Oh, filming, interviewing, editing, everything. Yes. I do. As a matter of fact, I've been enjoying the dealing with the community stuff a lot more than I did with the culture. Nothing against the cultural stuff, but when you're dealing with the community, it's not about talking about what happened back then and this and that, or you know, it's more about stuff that's happening like in real time and
Right.
seeing programs come to fruition that are benefiting people.
Okay.
Whether it be the youth and the seniors, you know.
Can you give me an example of one of the programs where it was just worked out?
I can give you the most recent one we captured was the seniors walk from Brick Hill to Butler's. You know, driving over to Brick Hill, I was like, how are these seniors gonna make it all the way over here? Like, we're gonna be here for like 3 or 4 hours, and I'm like, they're probably gonna need the Red Cross bus and all kind of stuff. You know, they really proved me wrong. I mean, I want to say they did it under an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
And how far did they have to walk?
From Brick Hill to Butler's.
How far is that? Probably you don't know.
I don't know. When you're driving it, it feels like it feels long. Yeah.
I know the routes, but I've never really measured it myself. So Brick Hill to Butler's, about mile and a half. It doesn't seem that far when you need a car.
Probably more.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
And then after the seniors, they sat down and they told stories, sang songs, you know, and seeing their happiness, that's what was counting. Seeing that they were happy to be out, and it's like you know, sometimes when you get older, well, I'm imagining you get older, your audience becomes a lot less. People, people don't listen to you as much. So these seniors, they were able to each, you know, say what they wanted to say, whether it was singing, give personal experiences, talk about the old days. Everybody had the microphone that they. So that was a nice situation to see.
Okay. And is that a regular thing or just a one?
No, these things happen all you know. If it's not seniors, it's the children.
Right.
You know, the children always have something going on, whether it be a spelling bee, sports. You know, even the seniors had their own sports the other day. So yeah, so they keep us pretty busy. And in between that, these different departments, they'll come to our office to produce, whether it be ads, you know. So,
I mean, for me, I always find it interesting that we're all going to get older. And sometimes, when I was in the UK, I used to work as a community development worker. And we used to develop projects for older people and young people to actually come together and meet and talk about their experiences. Because, you know, there's that different age gap. And then you've got that wealth of knowledge and experience. Plus, what older people might be thinking about now, it may not interest younger people. So what's stopping them from coming together and just talking about some of the issues which they may be seen as being different because of the age gap, but when you go deep down, there might be a lot of similarities there. So and those sort of programs used to work quite well. I mean, it talked both age groups a lot about how older people are nowadays, a lot about how younger people are nowadays. So you can have that one. I won't charge for that.
Yeah.
That's something you might want to kind of look into.
That sounds good.
Yeah. But you come on the show today because you've got a few sort of personal stuff you want to talk about. I mean, let's kick off because I mean, you wanted to talk about fatherhood, which is a very interesting topic. Everyone's got a different perspective, a different understanding of what it's like to be a father. I mean, I've never been a father, so I don't know where to start on that one. So, what are your views on fatherhood?
Well, let me give you my experiences. I just, when we relocated from the U.S. to Nevis, I came as a family of 6. Me, my wife Howell, and 4 children. Patrick, Xavier, Gabriel, and Eden. And even before, while we were in the States, we were in the church. My mother was actually a pastor in the church. I played bass in the church. And there were times when my family would perform in the church as a full group. Cavell singing, my son Xavier on the drums, my other son Patrick on the bass, my other 2 children doing percussion and stuff. So, come to Nevis, and the unit was still pretty much the same. I formed a band. Me and Cavell formed a band. We call it Holy Rhythms. With not the full family, but I was on keys. Cavell was a singer again, and my son Patrick was on bass. And everything was fine at first. But when we got back to when we got to Nevis, my eldest son Patrick, and he's before. I got him before I got married. I guess the streets started calling him. He started insisting about. He didn't want to be with the unit, and he wanted to be with my grandfather, where there's some advantages there too, because my grandfather had horses. He loved the horses. But I think what he really, beyond living in King Garden and dealing with horses and stuff, I think he liked freedom too. Right. Because I consider myself a pretty strict father.
Okay.
Everything was regimented.
Did you get that from your father?
No, I got that from a stepfather, actually.
Okay.
I got it from a stepfather. Who was a very strict person, and I guess and my grandfather too. Strict. So he started pulling away. I got to the point. There was one point when he left and kind of ran away. And he's my son. I'm supposed to be in charge of him, So I go down to King Garden where he was hiding out. Grabbed him up, brought him back up to where we were. But my grandfather convinced me if he's not happy up there, just let him stay here.
How did that make you feel then? How did that make you feel, the fact that your son didn't want to leave you as a unit? Did you feel like you let him down?
I felt at a loss for how do I handle this? There's so much. It's like there was so many different forces pulling away, but at the same time, it was only him. The rest of the family was fine.
Right.
Just him. So I'm like, okay, let me try this. Him living on there. So then, he goes to school, and I think this is where the whole, well, he said it too recently in the interview, but this is where the whole gang thing started pulling in. And like, for instance, I started getting reports from school saying he's skipping class or he's doing this, whatever. Okay, so me as a father.
So what sort of things are going through your head at the time when you kind of realise that he might be involved in gang activity?
To try to pull him back and save him. Like I said, my two examples of fathers was my grandfather and my stepfather. They were, disciplinarians. So I emulated that. So one time I heard he was acting up at the school. I don't know. In my judgment, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna maybe embarrass him, so he won't want to have me come up to the school and embarrass him anymore.
Okay.
So I went up to the school, caught him jumping out of a window, whatever he was doing, collared him up, drug him through this was at Gingerland High School. I drug him through the schoolyard on purpose to embarrass him, and even more so than that, took him home. And then we had this scene where it makes me sad when I think about it, but you have this scene of both me and my grandfather, and he was already in his 80s already. But you have this scene of me and my grandfather both putting some blows in him at the same time. What they call washing them out. I mean, like putting some licks. I mean, like brutal licks, because in my mind, I'm at a loss for what else to do. Hopefully, if I put enough licks in him, maybe it'll pull him back and come back onto the right path.
Because that's like the default for a lot of Caribbean families when their children are unruly. You revert to the physical rather than the sitting down trying to talk. I mean, was he the sort of young person that was willing to sit down and listen to what you were?
You see, yeah, he would listen. Even though he was doing that stuff, right? Out of all my children, the boys, I didn't have any problem with my dad, but out of all the boys, he was the most respectful to me. I don't know if it was a respect born of fear, but he would never be rude to me or anything. So that was one incident, and there was many incidents where I would brutally beat him. I'm talking about with pipe and so trying to pull him back.
Right. To
the point, okay, let me jump ahead. Right now he's incarcerated, right? On one of the times I went to visit him, I actually told him, at a moment where I was like, I want to apologize to you for the way I brutalized you. No, I was brutal to you trying to save your life, but that's still not an excuse for the way I dealt with you. But I just want you to, that's not an excuse, I just want you to know why I dealt with you the way I did with you. I was trying to save your life. I was trying to make sure you don't end up in here where you are right now.
And did he appreciate it? You say that?
Yes. Skipping further down the line, again trying to keep him out of this whole gang thing. If I ever see him with something with a red color or whatever, I'll take it from him and rip it up or burn it in front of him. I was like, and you're trying, but that's in the evening when you're trying to enforce certain things. On the flip side, in the whole daytime when he's in school amongst his friends, that's what you're competing against, that influence.
Well, I guess that's a challenge for a lot of parents. From the time they reach school age, they're going to leave the home. They're going to go into an establishment where they're going to meet other people same interests, similar interests, and they'll get into little groups, they'll get into gangs, because they can see how people in that group kind of meet their needs. Yeah, but I guess as a father, you're not really given the right sort of tools to deal with young men in particular in today's society, because there's so many different variants and so many different things affecting their behaviours and their personalities. And we've both been young, we've both been teenage, so in a way we could kind of understand what he might have been going through. Not entirely, especially if he's not willing to talk to you about some of the stuff that's going on with him. So that must have been very challenging as a father, what to do.
Yeah, like, for instance, like I said, when we came down, we had a band, and I was very proud of it that he was 14 years old and he was able to play bass and like carry a full reggae band at the age of 14. I had to taught him how to play bass, but again, going to school, got into a fight in school, broke his hand, and that was the end of him being in the band because of, you know, he couldn't play and whatnot. Skipping along, okay, with this whole gang thing, there was on 2 different instances where 2 of his either friends or associates or people who he was close to got killed. So here am I again trying to do what I think is right. I don't know, you know. So there was twice when I took him behind the scenes when they were laid out dead, hoping I can, you know, scare him straight, you know, push him towards the dead people, the dead person. I'm like, okay, this is what happened to you, Patrick, if you don't pull back. And hey, I'm trying, you know, I'm trying as a father, and trying everything, you know. Lately he spoke on it. He's saying what I did when I took him to the morgue, it didn't have the desired effect I was hoping for. It didn't scare him from it. Okay. He's saying what it did was create an anger within him. So, you know, it created an anger within him.
Towards himself? You?
No, towards who would have killed his friends.
Okay.
You know. And it just further took him down that road. You know, to where he ended up getting all kind of different things and actually getting incarcerated.
Have you ever been able to sit down with him and ask him why he decided to choose this particular path?
He normally would say something like, I wouldn't understand because I'm not in it. You know, that kind of way. I wouldn't feel what he's feeling or go through what he's going through because I'm not in it.
Okay.
You know. And I've never been complicit to that kind of lifestyle. I've always been against it. I want to believe maybe the general public, because I've never spoken it before. Maybe they thought I was complicit or was giving him a pass.
Right.
But, you know, they don't know what happened behind closed doors.
Oh no, I mean,
you know?
I mean, as a counsellor, I mean, I've worked with young people who have been involved in violent activities to find out some of the reasons why they get involved. Yeah, so you've got your peer pressure. Okay, you've got problems with the family unit. The father might have abandoned the household. So the young person's feeling an immediate sense of anger and maybe a sense of abandonment, so that kind of thing. They'll tend to veer towards people who, like I said earlier, like-minded people who are going to support them and invite them into activities which may not be something that you as a parent are going to be agreeable to. But as a young person, you might find it exciting, especially if he's on social media and he's watching games or YouTube videos or films, and you know, he could probably relate to those sort of things more than he can do with you as a father. Somebody he might be seeing as someone who's always telling him off or something, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
All these things are just like running around in my head at the moment. But that's the issue we have with young people nowadays. For me personally, we don't talk enough with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we expect them to go through the system of when they get to a certain age, they go to school, yeah, primary school, secondary school, high school, then they might go out to work. And then, but a lot of the emotional stuff that goes on within them, there's not really the opportunity to kind of discuss these kind of stuff. So you're not going to know unless he actually opens his mouth and starts sharing stuff.
Mm-hmm. And which he wouldn't, you know. They start to have this code that they don't tell or say anything.
Right.
What's happening out there.
Well, that's another issue, though, isn't it? If you're talking about things like codes, then they're going to be excluding certain people from their unit, which is going to be people like yourself and your family. And I guess they don't always take that into consideration when those things happen. So, again, maybe we should be looking at the way the society deals with young people and find out more about why they would prefer or choose to get into things like criminality and all that kind of stuff. But from your, let's carry on and talk about your perspective some more. So you've had your challenges as a father.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what do you think are the most important aspects of being a father?
Of course, you want to try to raise all your children to be, you know, productive members of society. Hopefully, to emulate some of the same values that you would have exhibited in your own household. You know, that they carry themselves in the same way that you carry yourself. I want to believe I carry myself with a high standard, with respect. I want to believe I have a decent enough name in society, regardless. And then you would hope that your children, you know, emulate that. So it's kind of difficult where you have four, and then you're losing the battle with one of them. You want all four of your children to succeed. And at the same time, if you feel like you're losing one, you don't want whatever's happening over there to tarnish the others. But of course, you know, they're going to look towards the older brother, and, you know, so then you start having, you know, little internal conflicts with the remaining, you know, saying, no, you can't wear that, not that color, you know. And they're like, oh, it doesn't mean anything, oh, blah, blah, you know, they don't take you seriously. They think you're old and dumb, you know. You don't know anything about the street, blah, blah, blah. You know, by the same token, my son got into some, well, I have to choose my words carefully, but, well, you know, the son that's incarcerated, you know, he's in jail for murder that he pled guilty to. He'd have to explain the who, what, when, and where, and his motives, or whatever that was. My thing as a father, again, was coming in and saying, look, you got to, you've been accused of this, the police are looking for you, you have to give up yourself. You know, you have to go turn yourself in. And especially the more you do whatever you're doing, you're putting your brothers at risk. You know, it's like, no, watch nothing, Pops. They're not in anything. We don't touch each other's family. We don't touch each other's family that's not involved.
Okay.
So he turned himself in, and then he had to answer to the system for what he did. He's almost 30, so he's old enough. He had to answer to the system for what he did. But what he did, even though he went to the prison, he left unanswered questions out here, which caused me to lose his younger brother, Xavier, and his friend. It was October 22nd, 2021, down by Sunshines. They went down there like they normally would do on a Friday night to Lime. I was in Dubai at the time. I never got a call actually to say you lost your son. I got a call on the phone saying, we're trying to reach your wife. And I'm like, okay, why? And then they hung up the phone. And started making calls, nobody's answering, until I finally called a family friend to say, what happened? And they hadn't heard anything, but while I'm talking to them, somebody must have told them, and then they screamed out and dropped the phone. And I heard Xavier's name mentioned. And, that's how I found out I lost Xavier. And that was the most powerless feeling I've ever had, because, you're thousands of miles away. You can't lash out. You can't, as a man, you're not there to support your family, hold them up, But, of course, you got to make travel arrangements and all that. That takes time to get back from Dubai all the way to Nevis. That took some time. So while I'm before the traveling, and having to sit up there and knowing that what went on, it was the worst moment of my life. Get back to Nevis and have to face it full on again, because the thing is, the last time I saw my son Xavier was when they were dropping me off at the water taxi. We hugged there, and I would have never known that when we hugged there, that would be the last time I would hug my son. So I come back through to the same water taxi, come back to the same terminal, come back to Nevis to deal with that. And then while I'm doing that, my grandfather at the same time was experiencing some, some physical. He was sick. His body was failing him. So again, and then, so trying to deal with that, my family, and deal with my son, and then my grandfather fading out at the same time. And long story short, I ended up burying them both within 2 weeks. And so some people say, some people would ask me, well, how you deal with all that and this and that and all that, and
well, that's what I was just about to ask you. I mean, we're both men, yeah. It's been well documented that as men, we don't like sharing our emotions, especially things like the loss of a loved one. I mean, when my mum passed away a couple of years ago, I can remember going down to a bar on the beach, and I sat at the bar. I just wanted to be on my own, and I was crying. I was visibly crying, sat at the bar, talking to a couple of friends, male friends, and I mentioned to them that my mum had just passed, and I started crying again, and they just walked off. It's like they didn't know how to deal. They didn't know how to deal with another man expressing his emotions and crying in front of them. They both walked off and left me there at the bar, man. So, as a father, I mean, when people are asking things like, I don't know how you deal with these things, I mean, that's a massive shock, because, we're not here to bury our young, our children, they're supposed to bury us. So for you, having that kind of impact on your life at that particular moment in time, I mean, emotionally, I mean, is there any way you can describe it, or are you willing to describe how you felt and how your emotions came out at that time?
At that time, I didn't give a You could say that word on the radio now. Okay.
I know what you mean.
I didn't give a.
Well, you wasn't
I didn't give a
so.
nothing about who saw me cry or where I cried. I mean, when I let go when I you know, my first outburst up there when I was in Dubai, as a sound that came from me. You know, in hindsight, I can't even describe how that is. It's like your people talk about heartbreak. I felt like I felt like my soul was torn. You know. I'll say this much. I have an advantage that most people who lose their children don't have, and the fact is, who Xavier was. Xavier was very outgoing. So even up to, I still get people who come up and speak to me about Xavier and their experiences with him. Xavier was my most challenging child, and he'll tell you, he'll tell me straight, well, what do you expect? You made me. I'm just like you. He would tell me straight to my face, and he wasn't scared of me at all. He would tell me straight, what do you expect? You made me. I'm just like you. So that's, you know. But then you have people come up and say, who you didn't even know Xavier had experience with it, and they talk about their good interactions with him and how talented he was, and that's this. But I started to say because we're in the field of videography. He's left behind so much material that the public hasn't seen. So many different skits he did, so every so often I created a channel for him. But the way I created the channel, if you look at it, it's almost like he's still around. You know, some might say, let the dead rest. Well, whoever someone said that you deal with your dead how you want to deal with your dead, I'll deal with my son. I'm son, whether it's in life or death, it's still my son, and I'm gonna deal with him.
You're creating memories, and you're kind of keeping his legacy going. And
I've never seen it done.
It's like,
At least I've never seen it done. So every so often I'll go into the archives, pull out something of him doing something, and put it forward, and because he still have his fans, the people who miss him, and you know, I'll still put it out like he's still around, and because I see his image and his so often. It's almost like he's not gone.
Well,
I'm not talking to him, but I'm seeing him so often, you know?
Well, if he's still getting people talking about him, it sounds like his energy's still here. And the way he's made an impact on other people, it still exists. So as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing wrong with creating the images, putting them out there, because you might inspire other people out there as well. Right? You know, I mean, okay, so his physical body's not here anymore. But his soul, I mean, the fact he's still thinking about him, his soul still exists.
Yes. Yeah. And knowing him, he always wanted to be heard, but that's he wanted to be heard more than anything, and then seen. No, he wanted to be seen too, but heard mostly. So, I think I'm doing what he would want me to do by keeping him out there like that.
Just keep doing that, man. Them other people, just forget about them, because they're not the people you're trying to reach. Right, because there must be hundreds of people out there who'd be really interested in some of the stuff that you're going to be putting out there. So just keep on doing it. You're always going to get your naysayers. You're always going to get people kind of criticising or saying something just because they can. And some people don't understand what they're saying. They're just saying it because it just comes out of their mouth sometimes. So yeah, just keep on doing it.
One of the legacies I have with him too, that I can say is a gift he's given me for life, is I was a cameraman from way back. I have a lot of old film, old Culturama stuff. That's kind of part of what got me to the cultural department too, because they liked a lot of the material I had. But I was into editing. I didn't know nothing about editing. Now one time I saw my son and Xavier and his friend. They showed me a movie they put together. I'm like, oh, how y'all do this? They said, well, we just use our school laptop. They didn't even have a camera. They just used a little bitty camera that comes on the laptop itself, and they shot an entire movie and edited it. It's like, really? And then Xavier showed me basic editing, And then my instinct just kicked in because I know I like telling stories. So he just showed me how to translate my stories into video. And I can say then and there's, he gave me a whole career change and everything, you know, like, so even though he's gone, there's sometimes when I open up my computer and I go into I use a program called Final Cut.
Yeah, I was just about to mention Final Cut. I've got
Final Cut, same thing. When I every time I open Final Cut and I start typing, he's right there. Because all the different things that he would have shown me, it just hits me. Yeah, he showed me this, and I'm doing. You know, it's like, you know, when they said the gift that keeps on giving. This is something that my son gave me that's always going to be there.
Was he self-taught?
Yes.
Because Final Cut.
Well, when I say so, yeah, I think because nobody showed them how to do it. I think they just, but maybe YouTube, maybe they picked up whatever stuff from YouTube and then went full speed with it, because they're the only ones I know that was doing that kind of stuff at the time.
When I first started using Final Cut, probably 2020, 2012. And I spent a day down at the BBC down in Bristol. They showed me how to use it. There's so much information. I'm probably forgetting most of it now. But it's a very interesting program. It's very, made loads of good stuff.
I like it. It's straightforward. I like it.
So the loss, I mean, it's obviously affected you on an emotional level. I mean, did you feel able to share your emotions with certain people during this experience?
I'm an extreme loner, you know, so anybody that would see me emotionally would be just people at home, most likely, you know. We see people at home, yeah. Like I said, this is the first time I've actually spoken about that where the public would know. You know, what I went through with that part. Even how I would have dealt with my first son, Patrick, you know, trying to keep him under. By the way, recently he was on social media for making a change in his life. He said he's made peace with those who he needs to make peace with. At least, you know, his perceived enemies, you know, so. And like I said, he's a grown man now, so he's, you know, whatever he has to pay for, he has to pay for. I can't carry that for him as a father. All I can do is still be there in a supportive role. I've never really stopped that. I remember there was a time, there was a publication here. I won't call the name of the publication, but it was a kind of platform where people could go in and pretty much say anything they wanted to say. And there was one morning I was taking Patrick to sign his name, because when you're on bail you have to sign your name or whatever. So then somebody goes into the publication and puts down, "Oh, I see the father with his son. They probably went to move the body," you know, that kind of stuff. So not because I'm quiet and I don't talk about it, you may not know, but you know.
But it's personal.
I've had to carry many a cross. You know, I've had to carry many a cross, and you know, when it comes to my children.
Well,
And I was going to say, I mean, but there comes a time when they themselves, as members of society, some point they're going to have to start to carry their own crosses too. I'll never stop being a parent and being in a supportive role, but they're going to have to carry their own crosses at a certain point.
Definitely. I mean, just from you speaking over the last 40 minutes or so, I mean, I've learned a lot about you, and I've learned a lot about how different people manage their emotions. I mean, for me, it's evident that, and from my experience as a therapist, a lot of people have challenges expressing their emotions. I don't know why. I don't know whether it's because of their upbringing, what they've experienced in their life before, whether they think if they express how they're really feeling, people are going to start telling them to shut up and stop feeling that way, that kind of stuff. Yeah. But we're human beings, so the more we have and express our emotions and share those with other people, it's going to make more people more willing or more likely to share their emotions as well. and not think that I'm the only person feeling this way. So by you coming on this show, you may have opened the eyes for a number of people listening to the show, made them realise that, you know, when things happen, it's all right to have a cry. It's all right to go and talk to somebody.
Can I also add, it's not that difficult to be positive and walk positive and help your fellow man, and even to compliment your fellow man. It comes so easy to me, and I wonder why is it so hard for, like, you know, one of the things. I'm a musician, and when you check you check out the musicians in our fraternity, they hardly ever big each other up or give each other a boost, and the musicians fraternity would be so much stronger if there was more unity amongst them, but it's not. They never big each other up. I have no problem bigging up another musician because.
Why do you think that is? Do you think
because I have nothing.
Do you think that's just on Nevis or in general with men?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what happens in other climes. I just want, you know, it's just weird. Because I'm like, maybe I shouldn't be comparing myself to them, but it's like I have no problem bigging up nobody, whether it be music or anything else. Even trying to just doing things for people. And I wish I could find a video. There was before Xavier passed, I was driving along Bay Road, and I normally tried to give them lessons. I'd stop and they were like, "Okay, where you going?" I'm gonna go God bless this guy. There was a guy named Jim. He would be down on the Bayfront. How do I term him? Looked like he didn't have anybody. I would stop, come right there by wherever Hunker's drive, walk over and you know, bless him with a little change or something like so. And there was one morning when I came back to the car, I saw my same Xavier was videotaping it, and he was like, "Yeah man, that's my pops, yeah, he giving us another lesson about blah blah blah." And I always wish I could find that video because it would have been in his phone, but we haven't been able to find that one. I had the same experience with I've had times like that with my youngest son, Gabriel, to go down on the Biffon and we talk about this, I'll talk about that. But back to what I was saying before, it's like, why is it so hard to big up an next person? Give somebody a flower.
That's a good question.
It's weird to me.
I mean, for a couple of years now, I've been thinking about setting up a men's group here on Nevis, and men could just come and talk about anything they want to talk about. Because I've not seen anything like that in existence on the island since I've been here. And I think that'd be a good group, a good sort of way for men to come along.
Well, I was hoping they would start up the Lions Club again because it's extinct, and my grandfather was a big member in the end. I still have his vest. I don't know. Nobody can give me a straight answer what happened.
Just disappeared.
Yeah, just fell to the side now, and I wish that's something I would have liked to be a part of again. Just go out into the community and just do stuff, you know, stuff that has nothing to do with political affiliations, none of that crap. Just going out and helping your fellow man, you know.
I mean, that's all part of because you're quite keen on giving back to the community. I mean, what does giving back mean to you?
A lot of it is karma too. Yeah,
well,
because I've asked myself many times, what did I do to this? And okay, I look at myself in the third person. So okay, what have I really done to deserve this? I have had four children, but half of my four is gone. Meaning, like, one's in jail, one's in the grave. What did I do to deserve this? Me personally, you know, and I can't come up with an answer. And so my thing is, because it comes easy to me, just continue to help, promote where I can, help somebody else. You know, I think I'm a good promoter, and try to use that to help others. You know, shine light on those who need the light shine on, and get them a forward.
Because we've all got. For me, we're all here for a reason. We've all got different skills. We've all got different attributes. We've all got different levels of knowledge that we can share with other people. But we're not encouraged to do that. A lot of people are quite insular, and they just think about themselves rather than thinking about the people out there they can help. I mean, I'm like you. I've been helping people for most of my life since I was about 8 years old, and I don't have a problem with it. It's just come naturally. And then over the years, I've been accused of being too nice. What are you doing that for? You know, if it's like a homeless person in the street, you might go and give him the same situation you had. You might want to give him some money or something to eat. I mean, I've done all that. And I don't see there's anything wrong with that.
No.
So giving back, it's key. It's essential, especially for people who don't really have much or nothing at all. But
And that's within reason too. Like you also have to create a space for your own self.
of course,
You can't give everything of yourself.
you need boundaries.
Like for instance, I'll be out all day helping, but if you catch me at the wrong time, I'll call my phone at the wrong time. If I'm in that, so okay, this is my zone and Patrick's zone, and the phone ring, I might watch it, and I kind of have a bad way. Like I don't want to bother right now. It can, and then my wife would say something. Why, if they only knew. If they only knew to say to you, like, hey, it's me, I'm human. I can't give all of me 24/7, you know?
Of course not. You need your boundaries. If you've got family, you need to be able to spend time with your family as well. I mean, essentially, if you can't look after yourself, how are you supposed to go and look after anybody else? I mean, with my phone, I switch it off about 7 o'clock at night. That's it. If anybody wants to reach me, leave a message, and I'll get back to you in the morning. So that's one of the boundaries I've kind of put in place. So what plans? Because we're nearly finished. What plans you got for this? You wanted to talk about a project, but I'll have to get you back on at a later date to talk about the project that we were going to talk about.
Well, like I said, quick, just tune into the Comms Unit Facebook page. It was really a unit set up, like again, to support whether it be social services or community development. They call out the camera to record something for them. But since I've been there, I wanted us to be more proactive as opposed to just waiting for a call to create content. Look for content to be created. Like go out and find a person that needs like I'm all about shining a light on something. Whoever needs it, whoever needs the shine to help, whoever's pushing a positive agenda, a positive movement, by all means, reach out to us. Let us get your story. I mean, we're looking for the content, but we'd also like to, because that's what we're there for, supporting the community.
Okay.
I take that part, seriously.
Do you think there's anybody here living on Nevis who went to the UK back in the 50s as part of the Windrush generation and then came out to Nevis? Because I bet they've got some interesting stories to tell. Because my mum would have been one of those people. She would have had a lot to say, because being born and raised in Nevis, when she went over to the UK, she didn't really talk too much about life in the UK. She just got on with it. Yeah, but I can always remember my mum when I was 11 years old. She told me I've got to work a lot harder than my friends at school, and most of my friends are white. And it's only later on in life I realised why she said that, because I was the only black kid in my class, and she was saying racism exists in the UK, and for you to be able to get anywhere in life, you have to be seen as doing more than your white friends. So I guess there's a lot of, but maybe a few Nevisians who may have had that Windrush experience, gone to the UK and come back. I think that will make it interesting.
I have a two-pronged thing on that one. I experienced in the US. I've experienced racism. I remember one time my mother got pissed off that me and my brother were skipping school, and she put us all in an all-white school. That was her. Just like I got desperate and tried to do for my son, that was her. She was trying to save us, so I was the only black kid in an entire white school, and the looks you get sometimes, or the things in passing, it's and you're the only one there too. No kind of backup. It's and then on the flip side, and then down here now, in primary school, because of my color. Some of the kids will call you white, red mongoose, and this and that, and so it was a double thing for me.
But yeah. So, you're going to mention a project that you're thinking about doing?
No, there's no specific project. Just like I said, anything that's happening.
Okay. So about it, Julie.
Anything that's happening in the community, anything you got something going on in the community that's positive, and you think that that the public needs to know about. If I was shining a light on it, it will give you a forward even better. I mean, by all means, reach out to the communications unit on Facebook.
So could it be anybody, any like community people in the community, whether business owners or someone who's
Yes.
got, like, that's some kind of backyard gardening or something?
Yeah, all of that.
Well, Christmas is coming.
Hmm.
You should put a call out. Put a call out to people when you go.
Well, when I got there was no, as far as the Facebook part of it, there wasn't that really, there was no push behind it. There's a YouTube page, but I got there, started a new Facebook page. So using that as I get more followers on,
Okay.
I'll use that as my clarion call to tell people, hey, what you got going on,
Okay. Oh, well, that sounds interesting. I'll start. Well, I think I'm already following your page on Facebook, but I'll start promoting more stuff when it comes in. We come to the end of time. That's all that noise in the background. It's probably putting our listeners off. I know people got to work.
I'm not even surprised.
and it's cooler at night as well for them to work as well, isn't it? So that's probably what they're doing next door.
See, let me tell you something, right? And it might sound weird, but I've told different people I have this this thing on me. I don't know if I'm gonna call it a demon, but there's something there that whenever I'm in the middle of making a point,
Right.
there's like automatically there's gonna be an interruption. Like if it wasn't that noise in the background right now, it would have been like a phone. I got my phone on do not disturb, so no one's calling me to disturb. But something was gonna happen tonight. No, you're laughing.
No, you bring it up.
But it's happened without. It happens every single time with me. If I'm getting ready to make a point, there's gonna be some kind of interruption.
Sounds like you're very good at manifesting things and making things happen.
The wife tells me I bring it on myself. But if it keeps happening, okay, I wasn't sitting here thinking, okay, there's gonna be interruption, because normally when you're in a radio station, it's quiet. There's no interruptions at all.
We need soundproofing. That's all we need.
And then you got this right behind you. So
I know. So, but I mean, it's the same for me on Monday when I'm doing my Monday show, the Calm.
You see?
So it's Carlisle to do his next show. So yeah, we probably need some soundproofing or try to turn the volume down on some of the bells and stuff we have going on here. But thank you. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you,
really quick. We'll have to come on and talk some more. Yeah, if you'd be willing to come back on and do that. But yeah, thanks very much. Right. I'm sure the listeners found that quite useful. And yeah, let's go out there and start helping and supporting each other, because there's people out there who must feel quite lonely and sometimes don't always know who to turn to get support. But we're all humans, right? We all live on this small island. So let's go out there, start encouraging each other. Let's help each other, support each other, empower each other, share the knowledge, share the skills, young and old. Just one community. Yeah. So thank you. You have a safe journey home. What? What, you think that was going to happen?
You were saying something. I just kept getting distracted by.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but yeah.
Okay, so. All right.
But T, thanks for having me.
Thanks
for having me. Thanks for being patient and waiting for me to finally come on.
so-
But like I said, you have always had a story, but I kind of wanted to wait till, like, especially with the comms unit Nevis. I wanted to wait and tell you, okay, I got some stuff going on, and
Okay. Well, I'm going to have you on when you've got even more stuff to talk about. I'm sure you're going to be developing more projects and ideas over the next coming months and stuff, yeah?
okay. And I want to kind of give a quick shout out.
Of course you
I'm
can.
shouting out my team at the comms unit Nevis, Tyrone, Raymond, Shania. They're a really good team. They're really good. It's not usual in government where you can. Give kudos to your government, but these three, yeah.
Keep spreading the kudos and keep spreading the love. All right? Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.
You have a safe journey. Okay, bye.